And now we're very excited to welcome Reverend Jeep.
Hello, all my beautiful brothers and sisters. It's so great to see all of you and be here with you today. The topic for this talk is forgiveness, karma, and compassion. Forgiveness is mostly a nonlinear process. And because forgiveness is a process, another factor of forgiveness is patience. And as St. Augustine said, the reward for patience is patience. Forgiveness is not about altruism. We reap the rewards of forgiveness. We, the forgivers, are the greatest beneficiaries of forgiveness. I know I feel so much better when I forgive someone. And it's been found psychologically that forgiveness heals depression and anxiety. It lifts symptoms of PTSD. And it also can lead to healthier relationships and lower your blood pressure and stronger immune systems. Spiritually, forgiveness finds freedom in our hearts and our souls. And forgiveness is a place of peace. Now, let me be frank. I am no spiritual giant. Right now, I am hard-pressed to find forgiveness and compassion, humility and love as I move through my unfortunate marital divorce. So I know firsthand how challenging finding compassion can be when I feel wronged. But today, I will explore forgiveness through the Buddhist teachings of karma and compassion. But let's first begin with what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness doesn't mean I excuse another person's harmful actions. Forgiveness doesn't mean I should forget the painful incident ever happened. It means I gain a new perspective. Forgiveness doesn't mean you need to tell the person that he or she is forgiven, because ultimately, this is a deeply internal process. Forgiveness doesn't mean that I deny my hurt feelings about a harmful situation. Forgiveness is not a denial of anything. It's actually a great feat in awareness and acceptance that finally lands in peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean I have to continue a relationship with someone who has harmed me. That's my choice until I make a different choice. Forgiveness can move in two directions. There's forgiveness for harms done to me, real or perceived, and there is forgiveness for harms I have done, real or perceived. So the flip side of being victimized by someone is having been the victimizer. And at times, to one degree or another, I have had disagreeable behavior toward other people. There have been times when my whole world was shaded by a pessimistic outlook. The glass half full rather than being half empty and waiting for the other shoe to drop. I have bullied people who did not respond the way I wanted them to, and that led to my righteous indignation and trying to get what I wanted. And by the way, that doesn't work. I have judged others. Judgmentalism is the processional leader of other character maladaptations like blaming and cynicism, or refusing to see my part because the other person will not be accountable for their behavior. Other maladaptations that block forgiveness are anger and resentment, aggression, and righteousness. But here's the rub. When I want forgiveness from someone, it has been wise for me to first forgive myself. Seems counterintuitive, but if I don't forgive myself, then I can be servile when seeking forgiveness. And self-forgiveness is one of the most empowering adaptations that I can engage. Look, it's difficult to learn in life that unfortunate things happen, and we don't always get justice. And this brings me to karma. To be clear, the Buddhist meaning of karma is action, as in cause and effect. Negativity results in negativity. Water seeks its own level. Karma is not lurking about waiting to pounce. Karma is like the ocean. It's unbiased. The outcome of these maladaptive blocks to forgiveness is what we might call an accumulation of karmic debt. And I can be chained to karmic debt unaware that I am suffering at my own hand. And here's the newsflash. Karma is not inexorable, nor is it predestined. As Ralph Bloom writes in the Book of Runes, karma shifts and evolves as we shift and evolve. So the question then becomes for me, what does it serve to hold on to my grievance? Does that move me forward in my life, away from karmic debt or not? Or does non-forgiveness keep me craving for my version of justice, stuck in the loop of anger and resentment over something that cannot be changed, and I'm righteous about it? Or does non-forgiveness keep me ignorant to the harm I may have caused? Does non-forgiveness keep me in karmic debt by using aggression to prove my point? As Mahatma Gandhi said, if we practice an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, soon the whole world will be blind and toothless. Now, is that really how I want to live my life? I don't think so. As a New Thought community, we celebrate and acknowledge our good. I believe that contained in that good is the individual self-compassion. And if I don't believe myself to be fundamentally a good person, can I truly find compassion for another or the other? And if not, then can I use the phrase that our New Thought founder, Reverend Maggie Lewis, said, clarify before you unify. I must self-examine my way to a deeper understanding of myself, to an elementary understanding that I am essentially a good person and one with God. I know from experience that when I undertake the heavy lifting of deeper self-examination without compassion, I wind up in self-loathing. And when I do ask for forgiveness from another, lack of self-compassion can reverberate toward others as needy or hollow or insincere. Conversely, self-love is the basis for magnanimity, generosity of spirit. Self-examined intentional forgiveness leads with self-loving kindness. My divorce process brings up all of my perceived and real beliefs of past injustices, both hers and mine. And this leads me into resentment which falls back on me, karmic debt. It's like I drink the poison thinking the other person's going to fall ill. So much harm has fallen on me by my blindly thinking retribution is a viable solution. So I need help. And I look to my trusted advisors and guides. And one of my dear friends, David Nichtern, who's a senior teacher at the Shambhala Buddhist Center in New York, he explains karma in his book, Awakening from the Daydream. Karma's like shooting pool. If we're dazed and confused, we're just knocking balls around all over the place. But if there is clarity and precision, intention, then you set up your shot and the ball goes where you want them to go. All the balls move around, and that's a learned skill to be able to do that. And when we look at our pool table, we can see the balls form a pattern, just as in the very moment right now, the various elements of our lives form some kind of a pattern. And as we survey our situation on the table, we have some kind of a response to it, and we prepare to take our next shot. And as we pick up our pool cue, we have some assessment, some feeling, and some kind of intention going forward. And when we take our shot, not only do we move the cue ball, me, but we also affect all the other balls, others, that are on the table. We create a new situation, albeit highly dependent on the immediate previous situation. We can't just take all the balls off the table and place them wherever we want in the middle of the game, life. So every moment has its own unique patterning as we approach it. And based on our past thoughts and actions, mixed with our current intentions, we move ourselves through life and move those around us. And if we can learn to see the patterns of our actions and their effects, over time, we will develop an understanding of how the karma game of our lives work. You see, karma is not inexorable nor predestined. We see that intention plays a key role in karma. My intentional challenge during the divorce is to move through it with humility and love. I'm working on it. And here's another excerpt from Jack Kornfield and Joseph Goldstein's Seeking the Heart of Wisdom. If an act is motivated by true kindness, it will necessarily bring a positive result. And if an act is motivated by aggression or greed, over time, it will eventually bring an unpleasant result. But because karmic results don't always bear fruit immediately, and it's sometimes difficult then to observe this process. And a few words on process. Time may be on our side to let go incrementally. As we heal, we might forgive piece by piece. And then, as I have experienced a deeper understanding of the person who did the harm to me, I may have found more compassion and therefore more forgiveness. Cornfield goes on to talk about how we can affect karma by how we think and speak. When we intentionally behave with awareness and compassion, almost magically, karma is shifted to a joyous, optimistic tone. Imagine that. My intention and action are how I am released from or confined by karmic debt. Having a forgiving intent means I have begun the process of attitudinal change. I'm leaving behind the toxic and the residual resentments that affect karma. Karma shifts and evolves as we shift and evolve. Now, what about compassion? Another teacher is Tara Brach. She's the author of Radical Compassion. And she says that when we awaken the heart and the spirit, qualities of mature compassion, an embodied mindful presence, an active caring, and an all-inclusive heart. And this is how we can free ourselves and heal the world. This is a practice where she weaves together mindfulness and heartfulness using the acronym RAIN. Recognize, allow, investigate, nurture. A reminder of Maggie Lewis, clarify before you unify. I trust that when I recognize my faulty attitude, allow for its truth in me, investigate its origin and meaning, then I can nurture myself to a compassionate place. To fortify my need for compassion, I also call upon Kuan Yin, the female Buddha, the model of compassion. And the meaning of her name is she who observes all sounds of suffering in the world. Kuan Yin's essence benefits the heart chakra and encourages forgiveness and inner peace, self-esteem, calm certainty, and heart healing. So through my process, I need to be observed and witnessed and heard by my supportive, compassionate communities. A powerful tool to change our viewpoint to forgiveness that we here at New Thought align ourselves with is affirmative prayer. The rocket fuel of affirmative prayer is intention. And if intention is the fuel, then compassion is the ignition. We have the spiritual technology. We are empowered through affirmative prayer. We prepare our minds, mindful intention for karmic shifts in the billiard game of life. Our path is impacted by karma just as exorable karma is affected by our compassionate path. Remember that karma shifts and evolves as we shift and evolve. Our compassionate intentions and actions support these karmic shifts. Forgiveness is a passageway to self-preservation, to self-esteem, to inner strength and freedom. No doubt, each of these is a desirable outcome. We can compassionately reach for them, a karmic evolution. And just as we collectively recognize the intentions of our spiritual community, we know that our individual attention accounts for much. And since, as a New Thought community, we know that spirit is always at work in our lives, we know that through intention, we are capable of shaping our compassionate karma through forgiveness. So I invite you to use RAIN. Recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. I invite you to affirmatively pray using the Buddhist principles of karma and compassion. I invite you to the freedom of heart and soul. I invite you to this empowered place of peace, forgiveness. And so it is. Amen.